This video is going to be going over my revolver collection. I make a lot of YouTube shorts where, I show the guns that I own, but I've never really done a showcase or anything. So I figured it'd be cool to just go over like a little part of my collection. Everyone loves revolvers, and I do have some nice ones, and I feel like you guys would think it's cool to kind of look at them and go over what I got. So we're going to start off with my least favorite and then work up to my favorite ones. Right here on the table, we have my top three that I own, but we're going to start off weak and then we'll finish off strong, if that sounds good. So starting off, we're going to start with the shittiest one I have, which is going to be this hunk of junk. This is a H&R R73 in 32 Magnum. A lot of you probably aren't familiar with 32 Magnum. That is because it is a pretty much obscure cartridge from like the 70s and 80s. They still make guns in 32 Magnum, but it's really not any sort of popular. Whenever I got it, it pretty much had no finish on it. It was covered in rust, and I basically got this thing for free. So that's why I have it. I really don't like it, and I've only shot it like once or twice. It's a hunk of junk. It works. I'll give it that. It works. It's a really simple gun. So the way you use this is you pull forward, have the cylinder come out, you have 5 round capacity, load up, close it, and then you just start shooting. And it is single action and double action. And it does work. I'll give it that. It does work. It's just doesn't look good. The ammo is not really easy to find, and it's expensive, but it works at least. I have some guns that don't work. They're projects, but yeah, I don't recommend this revolver to anyone. But that's the R73 HR in 32 Magnum. Second is going to be this pitiful example of a Ruger single 6 single action army style in 22 long rifle. 6 shots of 22, and honestly, it's not a bad gun. And I don't know if you can tell, but it's missing the ejector housing and the ejector rod. So if you want to use this, you literally have to get something and just put something down there and punch out the casings after you fired, which I've shot this a few times. I don't even remember where I got this from. I think I paid like $50 for it, and I was going to try to find a new front sight blade and the ejector housing, and I just really never got around to it. It's pretty well used and worn. You can see all the wear on the cylinder from people probably, doing that forever. But honestly, this is a older 3-screw model. See, 3 screws. I think this one's dated early 70s, but these are actually kind of sought after when they're not in this condition, at least. But I mean, it's a good pistol. It's just kind of in a state of disrepair at the moment. I've never really got around to finding the parts on eBay and fixing it or doing anything with it. Even if I did, I doubt I'd really use it much. But that is the Ruger single action army, whatever. You get the idea. Moving up, we'll get something that's kind of interesting. Right here, this is a Ivor Johnson top break. And this is actually a pretty old pistol. I believe it's dated for the early 1920s. So this is chambered in 32 Smith & Wesson standard. Not 32 Smith & Wesson long, 32 Smith & Wesson short, or 32 Smith & Wesson standard, or 32 Smith & Wesson normal. Whatever you want to call it, it is not 32 Smith & Wesson long. So this thing is I mean, you can tell it's pretty small. I do have decently large hands, so this may not be a really good comparison for some people, but it works. It's cool. It's top break, which is awesome. It's the only top break pistol that I have. It's just, it's not really comfortable to shoot. 32 Smith & Wesson short is a pretty wimpy cartridge, but it's just not ideal for really anything. It's a cool little gun to just have on you, I guess. It works. 32 Smith & Wesson can still do some damage, but definitely not ideal. I do really like the nickel plating and stuff, though. It's held up well over, 100 years. So, not my favorite, but it looks cool. It's old. I'm a sucker for old stuff, and the top break is actually pretty neat. All right, moving on to the next. It's kind of a tie, but I'll go ahead and say this is my next pick from worst to best. This is my next one. This is a Rossi M31. So this is basically a copy of a Smith & Wesson. It's a 5-round capacity cylinder. It has some marks here and there. I kind of don't mind. I think it adds to the character. I think they stopped making these in the mid 80s, I want to say, late 80s. So this example has to be, 40 years old, likely. So the way you use this is you have your cylinder lock, push that forward, cylinder swings out. You have 5 rounds of 38 special. Close it up, and then you can shoot. It is single action and double action. And then when you're empty, obviously just check the rounds like that. But not the worst gun. I like it. I like the look of it. I like how it's kind of smaller than, a Smith & Wesson Model 10, which I have over there if you guys are familiar with it. But just basically a Smith & Wesson knockoff, and it works. I like it. So moving on, this is the next one I got. This is a snub nose Taurus 85 or Taurus Model 85 snub nose 38 special revolver, obviously. So same kind of idea. Push forward on the slide lock. You have 5 rounds of 38 to play with. It's single action, double action. And when you're done, you get the idea. This is going to be a pretty much a trend through all of these. But actually, if I ever really want to ankle carry or anything, this is my best option. I do have an ankle holster. I typically don't ankle carry unless if I'm out exercising, like out in the park, taking a jog or hiking or anything, and I really can't be bothered to get my carry Glock. This thing actually comes in pretty handy going on the ankle. It's really concealable. It's the only thing is that it's a older steel frame model, and it's small, so it's not too heavy. But they have the, I think, Taurus 856s, or the lightweight, the aluminum alloy models that are lighter and more handy. So I really prefer one of those, but I got this one for like 150 bucks, I think. So for 150 bucks, this thing's actually pretty sweet. You can do a lot worse than this. But that's the Taurus Model 85. Pretty nifty little snub nose 38. I don't regret buying this, and I do carry it every now and again. All right, I have one more before we get to these 3 on the table. And that is going to be this beauty right here. This is a M1885 Nagant revolver. It is a Russian revolver. Well, you can see right here. It is a Tula make, manufacturer 1944. And you can see the little Tula star and arrow right there. So this is in 7.62 by 38 rimmed. Some of you are familiar with the 7.62 by 39, which is the round that the AK-47 family of rifles shoot. This is nothing like that. This is a proprietary, really weird looking casing. Here is a 7.62 by 38 rimmed. Pretty weird looking cartridge. So it's a 30 caliber cartridge, hence the 7.62. And what's kind of neat about this is that the casing actually goes over the bullet. You can see right here, that little copper colored thing you see inside the brass is actually the projectile. That's the bullet. And the reason it's shaped like this is because this guy has a gas seal. So if you can see here, you see how there's little rings around there, around the front of the cylinder. There's little cutouts right there. So what those cutouts do is they lock into the barrel, and you can see whenever you cock the hammer, the barrel actually pushes forward. It locks into this taper on the breech of the barrel, and it creates a pretty decent gas seal. The whole gas seal thing is cool. This is one of the only revolvers that you can practically suppress because it has a gas seal and it prevents any gas from escaping in between the cylinder and the barrel. But it's cool. It's old, it's Russian, it's a old military pistol. This one is 1944. That's a pretty late production. And the way you use it is you push down your little latch right there and you can load your rounds up. It has 7 rounds. It has a 7-round capacity. You load up all your cylinder, then you can put your little latch back up, and then you fire. It is a single action, double action. That double action trigger is terrible. It is absolutely awful mainly because you're moving the whole cylinder forward. But once you're done firing and you want to eject your rounds, you have your ejector rod right here. You spin that, it unlocks. You pull it straight out. Then you can turn that, push your little gate down, and then you can eject your rounds. I know the lighting's kind of bad, I'm sorry. So the cylinder being this kind of like bronze color, I think it's really cool, but I did not get it done like this, nor did anyone else. It came into the country like this. And as far as I know, this little kind of brass cylinder thing was a bad mix in the bluing solution when these were blued originally. And over time, it went from a blued color like the rest of the revolver to this kind of copper bronze looking patina. I think it looks really cool and unique. But that's the Nagant revolver. Pretty cool. So that's enough of this thing. So now we're into the top 3 of my favorite revolvers that I own. So number 3 is going to be my Smith & Wesson Model 10. It is a classic revolver. Love this thing. You have 6 shots of 38 special, single action, double action, and then when you're done, check the rounds like so. Extremely popular revolver, extremely classic revolver. This specific one is a 10-6 and it has the thicker bull barrel, which looks nice. I like it a lot. I love this revolver. This is one of my favorite, obviously, but it is just a nice piece. I absolutely love the look, the history. I love shooting it. It is just an overall classic revolver. Very nice, and it definitely belongs in the top 3. All right, in second place, we have my Chiappa Rhino 50DS. Very, very cool revolver, very soft shooting. It is chambered in 357, and if it's in 357, then it can shoot 38 special, which is always cool. I shoot 38 special out of this mainly because 357 is a little bit more expensive, but .38 special out of this is a dream to shoot. 357 out of this feels like 9mm out of a Glock in terms of recoil and muzzle rise. It is really nice. If you guys aren't familiar with these, what's really cool is that the barrel is actually on the bottom. See this right here? That's the barrel. So whenever you're holding the revolver like this, whenever it recoils, instead of coming from the top and it wants to flip up because all that energy is coming from on top above where your hand is, all the energy is coming from right here, and it kind of meets up with the web of your hand right there. So instead of wanting to flip up, it more just goes straight back. Not in practice, but you can definitely feel a difference in recoil because of that really cool underbarrel. Really nice, has fiber optic sights. Look how beautiful that is. Really, really nice sights. I love shooting this. So the way you use this is you have your cylinder lock right here. It's more of a lever than it is, like a push button or pull with Smith & Wesson or Colt. So you push down on that with your thumb. Your cylinder will swing out. You have 6-round capacity of 357 or .38 special. Close it up. You can fire in single action or double action. You guys saw there, it has a cocked hammer indicator because this isn't the hammer. The hammer is down here. It's internal because the firing pin comes out on the bottom. So this is just kind of a connector. I guess this is a hammer connector. And you can decock it. You just hold that back, and then you can let the hammer down like that. The hammer is internal. You can't see it. But you're done shooting. Open the cylinder, eject the rounds, like most of the ones we've been going over. Anyways, really cool gun, really nice, look awesome, really cyberpunky. The cylinder, I just love the cylinder so much. That like straight cut cylinder instead of being circular, it just looks so cool, in my opinion. Anyways, that is the Chiappa Rhino 50DS. So as some of you probably figured by now, my favorite revolver in my collection is going to be my Smith & Wesson Model 29, specifically Model 29-2 in 44 Magnum. This thing is a beauty. It is beautiful in every way. In my opinion, this is probably the sexiest, most aesthetic looking traditional, note that I said traditional, revolver. And it's just a beast. This thing is just a absolute beast of a pistol, of a hand cannon. 6 rounds, 44 Magnum or 44 Special. And with this long barrel, it just shoots like a dream. I love this thing. For as powerful as you can get 44 Magnum, you can get some pretty powerful rounds in 44 Mag. This thing eats it. It shoots. It's extremely accurate, as you can probably tell from this barrel. And this thing is just amazing in every way. I love it so much. So the front sight insert has a huge tendency to dry up and crack and then eventually fall out. Honestly, mine fell out when I was shooting, and they are impossible to find a replacement. So what I did is I have a 3D printer, and I 3D printed a new front sight insert out of red PET G. I believe that's PET G I used. And I've shot this maybe about 300 rounds, and it's still in there. That thing gives you an excellent side picture. I know the camera's not focusing really good, but really nice, bright red front sight. Cannot complain. How you use it is you push forward on the cylinder lock, you swing the cylinder out, load up your 6 rounds of 44 Special, 44 Magnum, whatever you decide. Close it on up. You have a single action and double action. And then when you fired all your rounds or you want to unload, swing the cylinder back out and just throw those puppies out of there. You guys get the idea. So Absolutely my favorite revolver and literally my most expensive one that I have. Anyways, that's my revolver collection. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys got some ideas of yourself looking at some of my stuff. Hope I showed you guys some interesting things. I think they're cool. I love revolvers. Revolvers are awesome. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching and happy shooting.